Hi, I'm Eleanor. This is Motor Matters, your favourite channel for everything motoring. And the latest, the greatest, the newest and the best. Like this. The Chery badge is becoming a very familiar sight on South African roads. The grille, you can see the studded effect on the grille. Chrome surround. You've seen this before on the channel. Because yes, it is the biggest model in the Chery range in South Africa, the Tiggo8. But this is a Tiggo8 with a difference. Let me give it its full name. It's the Tiggo8 Pro Max. Yes. So what does Max mean? That means they've taken out the 1.6 litre turbo engine and replaced it with a 2 litre turbo. That's the big difference on this one. And it's the main difference between this one and the two models that we've driven before in the Tiggo8 Pro range that you can see on the channel and check out the videos. So I'm not going to spend too much time showing you too many details, but you've got the slimline LED headlights. You've got lots of features like this that are really good. It comes obviously with full safety spec. We'll talk about that in a few moments. But I want to just mention one thing on the headlights that I found quite interesting. It's a mix between two different spec levels that you get on the market these days. I'm talking about auto, high beams and dimming. Interestingly, on this one, you have to engage high beam. It doesn't engage automatically. You just click the stalk, big deal. But once you've done it, it then goes into an auto mode and will dim if cars are approaching or when it feels necessary for, under the circumstances, for lighting around you at night, etc. So it's kind of a midpoint on the whole auto high beam setup and situation. Pretty interesting in my book, but it works really well, and that's what counts as far as I'm concerned. Let's come around the side, of course, over here, and you'll have a look. You've got some really nice dual tone, dual color mag wheels as we're getting everywhere these days, and you've got nice 18-inch wheels with a decent profile tire on there as well to give you reasonable ride comfort. And this is a smooth, comfortable vehicle. Interesting as well, seeing as it is an SUV, you've got some of the cladding, but not as much as many others, because note, you lose some of the black cladding over there for the chrome strip instead across the doors. Well, just a design feature that Chery have obviously decided to employ on the car. Let's take a look at the back. The car, of course, has locked itself while we are doing the video. So let me unlock it quickly. Just press over there, of course, nice and easy. Note the width of the back doors, because the 8 is the 7-seater in the Chery range, and that's a very important factor. Now, I have already allowed for accessing the rearmost seats over there, so you can see you've got black leather as opposed to the lighter color on the 1.6 litre models. Interesting. I don't know how they decided on that, but it's something they decided on, and well, no complaints there. Much darker, but then you have got a nice big panoramic roof, so if you want to brighten up the interior, you simply do it by opening that up. So the dark interior doesn't worry me in any way whatsoever. You've got nice aircon vents you'll see in the center over there for the rear seat, and you do have a USB below it as well for the rear seat passengers, which is a nice little feature as well. You've also got this effect over here, the metal type effect in the door panel that just looks a bit racy and a little bit sporty. And note the stitching on all the leather effect over here. Just showing you the rear seat split, as you can see, 2/3, 1/3, and can fold down in those. I've pulled the seat as far forward as it can go. That's your access to the rearmost seats over there, and obviously they're not meant for adults on long journeys. I'm not going to climb in there. Go and look at the previous video and you'll see what the space in there is like for you if you want. You come around to the rear, of course, of the car. Note Tigo LED tech tail lights as well, and a nice big spoiler over the rear tailgate. How do you know, besides this is the max, of course. It says it there, but that's actually the giveaway. Now, what does 390T mean? I got a bit confused when I first saw this, because it is pretty interesting. Well, what they do in the Tigo range is that is actually the torque figure, interestingly, not the kilowatts. Talking about that, the 2-litre engine ups the game from the, let's start with the 1.6's figures of 145 kilowatts and 290 Newton meters, exactly proportioned, aren't they? Now we go into this one, the 2-litre, and it goes to 187 kilowatts and 390 Newton meters of torque through a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission powering the front wheels. That's a lot of power in a family 7-seater vehicle, and it's obviously, as we know, it's one of these 7-seaters that has the typical story of no boot space when you're using 7 seats. Little storage area there, and very neat trick that they have got over here is when you're in 5-seater mode, this is your pull-out cover that of course goes over there for the rear, but nicely handled in the sense that you can hide it away if you need 7 seats. So it's very clever. The other thing, just to show you right now, is that there are aircon vents for the rearmost seats. And in fact, let me just drop that again. On the right hand side, you've even got a fan speed adjustment for those aircon vents for the rearmost passengers. So they are, although I say they are essentially for kiddies, they have taken care of you very nicely with that. Press button, and hey presto, there you close up. Another feature, of course, of the 2-litre version is those 4 mean tailpipes at the rear. Let's have a look inside. Let's see it on the road. Let's see our final conclusions. The 8 Pro we've driven before. I've driven both the Distinction and the Executive models previously. So the actual car itself, the interior, I think you're used to, you know it. What the difference is, because now the Max that we're in right now, what are the real differences on this one as opposed to the standard one, can I call it? Well, the engine, we know that. You're gonna hear lots about the engine and the difference on the engine in this video. Other than that, they put thicker glass, so better insulation, noise insulation, road insulation overall on this car, on this model, as opposed to the 1.6 litre versions. But of course, the whole difference really is in the performance. You now got the 187 kilowatts as opposed to 145, and that is a big difference. I'll put my foot down in a second or two, and I think you'll get an idea of what this is capable of as we drive through the suburbia that we're generally using for our tests and videos lately. Now let's see, let's put my foot down. It's pretty quick, it's pretty responsive. I didn't notice any basic turbo lag of any sort. Note, of course, the front collision warning system that works so well, because the car that was stopped in front of me there, and it certainly started binging and bonging and going on in front of me. I'm not sure what this guy's doing in front of me, but anyway, let's just get past him. And there we go. And now you can feel up a bit of a hill the acceleration that you do get out of this 2-litre turbo petrol engine, as opposed to, as I said, the 1.6. It takes this 7-seater family wagon, can I call it, from sedate, not totally pedestrian, but fairly sedate, up to really having some pretty good performance. And this is, by the way, in normal mode and not in sport mode, which is also available to me if I wanted to use it. This car does have 3 modes: eco, normal, and sport. You can take your choice of which one you want to drive in. I've just run it in normal for the duration of this whole test. Don't know why, it seems like the area and the neighborhood is rather busy today while I'm on shooting the video. And well, some people just certainly don't want to make way for cars. while I'm trying to do it, but my usual turnaround over here in this area. But we'll see what we can do, and they've certainly made a point of blocking the entire road over here for me. The other thing, of course, is the camera system that I've pointed out on the Cherys in the past. You can see now it's running in forward mode. You've got the overhead. I can go into the 3D view, which I really enjoy. Look at that. It shows me exactly what's going on all around me. But for some reason, it switched itself off over there. But I'm in a traffic jam, aren't I? In the middle of little area of suburbia, I'm in a lovely traffic jam. And of course, here we've got someone doing a turn like I just did, except note the difference when you're in a SUV, family SUV, as opposed to a big truck. You certainly can't turn as easily, can you? The other big difference on the Pro Max as opposed to the other models is just bring the camera around and you'll notice the dark colored upholstery, the black upholstery, as opposed to the tan or brown in the 1.6 liter models. Well, it's what you like. Or I suppose you don't really have a choice right now. So that's what you get with this version. One of the features of the interior of, doesn't matter which model we're talking, is this, can I call it the floating console over here. You can see the two levels. You've got your charging, you've got your inductive charging pad and your USBs, etc. down there. I find them a touch awkward to get to and access, but I suppose once you've got them and you've used them, they're fine and they're pretty easy. So it's not a problem afterwards. You've also got two more USBs over here in the center console, which is a medium size, shall we call it. So you have got all those kind of features over here. The dashboard is digital, as you would expect from a car of this sort and this sort of range. So that's very much the usual, can I call it there. And now let's show you quickly. A lot of commuting duty on this test, very little open road cruising. We've been averaging 9.9 liters per 100. That's probably about as bad as it's going to get. But also, please keep in mind, this car has only got 2,845 kilometers on the clock. And I have spoken to many Chery owners who say that the consumption improves drastically after that first 5,000 kilometer service. So I'll just leave it there and let you know about it. You do have one of the features, I won't show it to you now, but the comfort access, as they call it, which means that the driver's seat goes back when you switch off and open the door and slides forward again to your desired position, or the seat position you want when you restart the engine. Nice feature. Of course, the other thing just to show you is there's a switch over there that says mode, and when I do toggle it, let's have a look, because you see we're in normal, it says in blue just above the mileage. I can go into sport and look what happens. It goes all red on me, doesn't it? Like everything red for sport. Or eco mode, and it goes the kind of bluey green tinge saying eco. So there's normal mode. So there you get the idea. Green for eco, blue for normal, and red for sport. Coming across over here, you've of course got the big touch screen over there. You know it. It's very standard to the range. And you've got all the features over there. I mentioned just now the camera system, and that is a nice one. And just for example, the 3D view you've got over there, or you can go front wide view. It gives you all the different views that you can possibly want from the camera system. Below you've got of course your aircon vents, and you've got those buttons over there. I showed you the home button for the screen, and then you've got your ventilation system over here on a separate screen. But what is really nice about this is for both driver and passenger, you've got a fan and a temperature control over there. Little push buttons, simple as that. They really do work nicely, and I find it much easier and better than fiddling with a touch screen. Your gear shifter, well, it's a push-pull. It's normal, it's standard. And of course you've got the electronic parking brake. Slot over here that some people say is for your cell phone, but from a personal point of view, I do find that with my phone there, I am a little bit uncomfortable with the gear lever. So either hide your phone away or put it down below there where we showed you that bottom piece of the console earlier. You have those choices. Of course, the panoramic roof I mentioned just now. Well, let's have a look. And you simply do that, and there it goes, and it opens up for you. Nice and big double roof. So it is nice. The front section can open. You've got to give another push for it to keep going. There you go. Okay, my summary now on the 8 Pro Max. The extra power, yes, 187 kilowatts as opposed to 145. 390 Newton meters as opposed to 290. It's almost got more oomph than I would think you need from this vehicle. And it makes me wonder sometimes if you need it all. They both have the full ADAS system, in other words, blind spot monitoring, lane keep, etc., etc., etc. The forward collision warning, which you heard while we were on the road. It's got all those features for you, but you get that in both. So what do you get for the extra money? The bigger engine, more power, sure. And you get more installation, a slightly quieter ride. The difference is from $570 to $629 in price. And I'm going to make a call right now and say that if this was my money, I would stick with the 1.6. Personally, the 1.6 has got enough power, 145 kilowatts. I would not pay the extra money for that extra bit of power. But that's me. If you like more power, that's up to you. What I'd really love to see from Chery is a bigger engine in the Tigo8, which is the smaller 5-seater, which could really be deemed a sporty version. And can you imagine this engine in that one? And make it a real Tigo8 Sport. I think that could be fun. But you pay your money, you take your choice. Either version is certainly worth looking at when you're looking at cars like this. You want that 7-seat option. You know what the market offers. You know what the opposition offers. Put this on your shortlist, go and drive it. And never, ever forget 7-year, 90,000 kilometer service plan and that 1 million kilometer warranty on the engine. Something nobody else has matched. For Motor Matters, I'm Alan R. See you next time.